Welcome to When Worlds Collide, podcast about competitive Scrabble. I'm Benji, and I'm here with Quizzical. So, you had a pretty eventful year in Scrabble, haven't you?
Yes, my year has been amazing. I have won over 60% of my games. Isn't that great?
That's really impressive. How'd you manage that?
I played a total of 7 competitive games this year.
Okay then, so you heard it here first. The way to win at Scrabble is just to not play.
Yeah. The way to be happier in yourself is to not play.
I strongly disagree. I played, oh man, how many games did I play this year? Well, I played over, I think, 15 tournaments. I won 3 of them, and I feel like I had around a 60% win rate, something like that.
Cool. Well, that's about my win rate as well, isn't it? So maybe the trick is to not play a few games after all. But anyway,
I don't know if I'll play quite as much next year as I did in 2017, but I had a lot of fun this year. I played some tournaments that I wouldn't normally play, and I'm already signed up for a few that I haven't played this in the coming year. I'm going to be playing in New Orleans in a week. I kind of got peer pressured into that one. And then I'm going to be playing in Oregon next month.
We should probably also introduce ourselves a little bit further in case there are people out there listening or watching this that don't know really who we are. Yeah, Benji introduced me as Quizzical, but occasionally I go by my actual name of Jessica or Jess, just because it's 4 letters and it fits nicely up there. I'm a 2-time UK National Youth Champion. Emphasis on the youth. Because I'm
Scrabble champion.
Yeah, I can't win the real thing. I've competed in the WISC, the World Youth Scrabble Championships, 4 times. And like Stoke City, I finished 9th 3 years in a row. If you like your football, you'll know that. Or you'll know what Stoke City is anyway.
I'm gonna just nod.
You should introduce yourself as well.
I suppose I should. Alright, so my name says Benji. Some weird people call me Ben Schoenbrun. I don't know who those people are, but apparently that's my given name at birth. I'm a player in the US. I've been playing for about 10 years. This is, I guess, my 12th year of tournaments. I started in 2006, and I recently had my first good finish last year, and I'm hoping to play more internationally in the coming years.
Maybe we'll talk about your good finish later in this episode.
Maybe. We'll see if we get to it.
We'll see. But with that, we are going to now round up all the most important tournaments from the year 2017.
Seems like there are a lot more this year than there were in past years. Partially because of this one. This tournament's been around for a while. This is the 3rd time it's been run. But this year it was kind of pushed into the forefront. Ellie Dangor donated 9,000 Canadian dollars to the prize fund for this tournament, which kind of made it go from a large event in North America to more of an international event. And this tournament is, of course, Niagara Falls, which I attended.
Woo, Niagara, valid word in Scrabble hype.
It was just added to TWL in 2014, just in time for the Wait, no, the dictionary came around in 15. Wait, no, what? Yeah, it was just in time for this tournament that you could play Niagara.
TWL is late to the party.
As it always is. Hey, Collins can be late to the party too. There aren't any stupid beggar or rabies in Collins yet. Maybe someday.
But maybe we should talk more about how Niagara finished up, right?
Yeah, if you see the top of that screen, you're going to see a pretty good player up there. It's Dave Weekend, and he kind of destroyed this tournament. There's no other way of putting it. He went 19-1. They just gave him 2 byes at the end because they didn't have anything else for him to do. There was an odd number of players. I think someone left early to catch a flight. So he just sat the last few rounds out and waited to collect his prize fund, which he definitely earned. 19-1 is against a field of this caliber. You could see the other names in this field. Is really incredible. He just crushed this tournament.
I'm not going to doubt that. We would all kill for a 95% win percentage. With our meager 60%.
I don't think he actually wins 90% of his games.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think he wins more like 70% of his games. I think this might have been a bit of an overperformance. No offense to him, but 19-1 against this field is really kind of absurd. But the thing about this tournament is there are a lot more players. The player to round ratio is a lot different than usual, so it's more likely that a player would go 19-1 in this type of tournament just because it's a shorter tournament than usual, and you're going to need a good record to win. So you can see in second place with Nigel Richards, as I hear he's pretty good at Scrabble.
I hear so too.
And his record of 18-4 would normally be good enough to win a tournament. Like, that looks like a winning record to me.
Well, it's over 50% with wins. That means it is a winning record.
That looks like a tournament winning record to me.
Yes, that too.
I had a winning record at Niagara. I'm so proud. But Nigel... But again, Dave just crushed everyone. He just refused to lose a game this tournament.
Except for that one that he actually lost.
Refused to lose games this tournament. And Nigel, of course, just dominating the field, aside from Dave as always. 2 games ahead of third place, which is really incredible. Like, Dave, in a 22-round tournament, finished 5 games ahead of third place, which was Adam Logan, who is also pretty good at Scrabble. He's probably the best North American Collins player. There's probably some debate for that. I guess Weekend is definitely also in the discussion. That's probably pretty close. I think those two are about equal. Yeah, Adam, very quiet guy. Great performance by him. And no surprise for fourth place, Joel Wapnick. Also 16-6 with slightly less huge spread. Fifth place, Conrad, who drove up with me. I gave him a ride since he was doing an internship in New York at the time. He was happy to play some Scrabble again. This was his first tournament in a while where he was actually competing seriously. He told me that part of the reason he came was just so he could get a chance to play Nigel. And I heard him talking about the game with Nigel pretty excitedly. He lost it, but he seemed happy to have played Nigel, and he found the game interesting.
You mean Conrad doesn't get his own I beat Nigel Richards once t-shirt?
Well, he can get one if he wants to, because he has.
Ah.
You can get one too.
I was going to try and one-up him, but I didn't. I couldn't.
Do you own one of those shirts?
No, but I need to get one.
Me too. I wonder if Ray Tate still makes them.
Maybe.
I haven't really talked to him at all, but I should really just contact him about getting one.
Yeah. Should we do a quick run through of the rest of this field then? And then you can say where you finished as well.
The reason I made that Ray Tate quip was because he is he's basically I don't know exactly what his rating is, but he has like a 5-2 record against Nigel. So going through the rest of this field, the other people with 15 were Evans, Jason Keller. Quinn, that's her first big result. She doesn't really get to play that often, so I'm sure she was really thrilled to do well at this tournament. She also beat Nigel, so she can get that shirt.
Shirts for all.
Sam Rosen can buy a I beat Dave Wiegand at Niagara shirt. He's the only person who could buy that shirt.
Oh yeah, that would be a great shirt. Get it printed.
But there's not much demand for it. There's only one person in the world can buy a copy of it.
Well, yeah.
I don't even know if you would. Oddly specific, too. 10th place, your friend Orlet.
Yay.
I'm sure you're happy to see him do well for once. He's
For once.
I overheard Fyodor Andronowski saying that you always draw like he always draws like crap. So I'm sure he's happy to
Piotr
have a good
or
result
Orlet?
for. Fyodor was saying that about Orlet.
Orlet always misses stuff when I watch him on ISE. Sorry, Orlet. But then he is working at the same time, so he is excused. Sorry for ruining your secret.
I don't judge people too much based on their ISC games.
No. But I just scream every time he plays an Orlet word. I'm like, ah!
An Orlet word?
Yeah, we're not going to go into what that is on the podcast. But we should move on, right?
Okay.
Should we move on to the next tournament?
Oh wait, you guys have to hear about my Niagara experience.
Oh yeah. Don't let me ruin your moment.
My moment was finishing in 26th off of this cliff.
Are you sure it was 26th? Because my script says 28th.
Oh, I guess it was probably. I'll believe your script.
Yeah, you probably put that in, didn't you?
If I remember correctly, I won. Was it 11.5 or 12.5 games? I think it was probably 12.5.
Yeah, 12.5.
I tied Pakabori Jack. For some reason, ties really throw me off when I feel like I blew the game. Like, sometimes they can be more annoying than losses. And I did not draw well at this tournament. I had 8 people double blank bingo me.
That wasn't nice.
I actually won, I think, 6 of those games. But every time I played one of these top 20 players, well, except for Tony Leia, I beat him by a lot. Every time I played someone who was doing well in this tournament or highly rated, I just seemed to get destroyed this tournament, which happens. People played well against me, and I didn't play particularly well or draw particularly well. In a tournament of this size, that's just going to happen sometimes. Mm-hmm. Moving on to a tournament where I didn't do this horribly.
I know, you actually appear on my little picture, don't you?
We have the US Nationals.
Oh my god, you've gone all roboty. That's not great.
I think things froze.
Oh well, we're fixed now. So yeah, how did this one
it's
go?
still frozen for me. I can't see your screen anymore.
Yeah, I know. I took it down because you said it froze.
Okay. Yep. We'll just get this.
Oh, there we go. Go.
Pardon the. Okay. So yeah, this tournament, as you can see, went a lot better for me, and I say that because you could say my name. You could see my name here.
Yeah, look, but it's not there in first, sadly.
It was there in first after 14 rounds, but unfortunately the tournament was 31 rounds long, and the cream definitely rose to the top here. Will Anderson, incredible player, crushed this tournament. He started off not too well. He was talking about how he kept winning like these games where he felt like he had no chance. As you can see by his spread, he does not exactly have a great spread. Plus 1,068 is a lot lower than
just Max. Only Max.
It's also lower than Nigel's and Charles Ranke's. So Will won. If you can find it online, you should look for his game against Joe Edley. Will managed to steal a game in an incredible way. And you could also, a lot of people still remind me about this game, unfortunately. You can find my game against Will online also. It was an endgame situation where I was just very low on time. It was having board 1, and I had the game locked up, but Will could make a play to set up an outplay, hoping I miss it, and I did miss it. I recommend looking that game up to see at least part of how Will did so well this tournament. In second place, my good friend Mac Maller, who had a much bigger spread. He was just crushing his opponents all weekend. I went 1-1 against him. I beat him by about 50, and he beat me by about 250.
That's one way to get spread, I guess.
I wish he would have taken it from someone else. Oh wait, he did. He's one of the most open players as far as play style goes. He'll just open the board and dominate just based on his word knowledge.
Because it's not like he's lacking in that, is it?
No, he's played several. There was a game once where he fished for the word Andromeda against me, because he saw that was the only way that he could win.
And did it succeed?
It did not succeed. I ended up winning that game. In third place, again, get used to hearing this name a lot. Nigel Richards.
I need a button for that. I really need a button for Nigel Richards, just so I can push it and then it goes, Nigel Richards.
You should just record me saying Nigel Richards. You won't have to have me here for this podcast anymore.
Yeah.
You could just have me announce Nigel Richards, and I'll be like that, and I'll be like I'm there.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'll probably still do half the talking. All you need to say is Nigel Richards, Scrabble, Nigel Richards. Nigel Richards
is once again near the top of the tournament field.
I played Nigel twice this tournament. This was a tournament where I can say that I earned my Nigel shirt. I've once beaten Nigel Richards. But in the other game, Nigel L stuck me. That's not nice.
When I had to demonstrate which letter of the alphabet it was for those that...
You have to do it by calling me a loser, though.
No, we're good.
Okay. So the next person in the standings is someone who just kind of came out of nowhere. I remember seeing someone say, "How do you pronounce this guy's last name?" I think I know how to pronounce it. In fourth place was Alex Seaholm, who is a player from Seattle. I think he's only 18 or 19 years old, and kind of just came out of nowhere and crushed this tournament. He was in first after day one, and he kept it going the whole way through. He seemed to be playing well on board one the whole time he was there, so kudos to him. I played him 3 times, and one of the things I found out about him actually is that his word knowledge is not as strong as some of these other players. So, which isn't really a surprise since he's only just started playing competitively in the past few years. But in the next few years, really look out for this guy. He's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins this tournament in the next 5 years or so.
I suppose you could say look out for this guy because he might be kicking your ass over the board at some point in the future.
Well, that too. If you play in Seattle, look out for this guy. But then again, if you play in Seattle, look out for Dave Weekend also. Fifth place, look out for this guy. If you're playing in Israel, look out for this guy. Rafi Stern. He beat me twice towards the end of the tournament, and he's one of the smartest gamers that I know. He may not have like the raw word knowledge of Mac or like the Scrabble intensity knowledge of Nigel Richards, but I don't know if there's anyone who's like a smarter gamer, except maybe David Eldar, than Rafi. He plays poker also for a living. He'll play some other games like Scrabble Cubes to make extra money. And he's also a bar mitzvah tutor. If you ever wanted to get bar mitzvahed, I think, or bat mitzvahed in your case. I think you're a little old for that, though.
Oh yeah, I'm like a decade too old to get a bat mitzvah. Which lets you know how old I am if you don't think it.
Anyways, in sixth place, the more attractive of the Reinke brothers, I'm just saying that to get on his good side. I can't actually tell them apart. Charles Reinke. I hope I didn't get on Thomas's bad side. He was the top of the 19 and 12s. I played him early on in the tournament, and I managed to win a close game. Solid performance by him. I wasn't really following his progress during the tournament, so I don't really know exactly what was going on with it, but he definitely earned it. He's done well at some of these in the past, and he's another player to look out for. He's been steadily getting better as years go on, so I don't expect that to stop anytime soon. Seventh place. You should be looking at the camera here.
No, I know. 'Cause I'm typing.
Seventh place was Ian Weinstein. Make sure you call him Ian because otherwise he'll get mad. He's one of the most offensive players, not in the sense that he's makes people upset, but in the sense that he plays very open boards. And he just plays a very equity-oriented game, and he plays that game very well, as you could see. He finished right ahead of me. I came in 8th at this tournament, and I started off really strong. I started off 18 and 6, and then I lost 6 in a row.
Yay, losing streak.
It couldn't have waited just another day for that losing streak. Just one more day. I would have been happy to lose all of my games at Ottawa if I could have just put it off for a few more hours. The other people who cashed were Maxim Panich, who I played twice. I kind of got lucky in our games. And Morris Greenberg, who kind of came out of nowhere this tournament and Swiss gambited, so to speak, but he's also very smart. I looked at his games, and he plays a lot like Rafi. I think he just needs to learn the words a little better. Nationals was really, really exciting for me. I'm going to be very disappointed if it doesn't happen next year. This is really what I look forward to every year.
Let's go on to MSI. The MSI World Championships, as apparently they like to call it, because they're allowed to. And what happened? Well, stuff happened.
Don't be fooled by that number one on top.
Yeah.
Nigel Richards doesn't win every tournament he plays.
Yeah, now, most of you will know that MSI like to play their knockout games after the main... I need to do bunny rabbits in camera, this is horrible. Left-handed. The bunny rabbit main event. Because, whoever wins the main part of it might not win the whole thing. So, here you've got the top 10, you've got, that guy that I need a button for, Nigel Richards. And then, he pretty much dominated this, like those other American events got dominated by Americans. Like, he was comfortably into the top 8. And that's kind of really all you want from one of these events. Because I mean,
he could have just taken a nap after his 22nd win or something.
Yeah, I mean, all he really had to do was get into the top 8, because it doesn't matter what seed you are in the top 8, you're gonna get someone that's super tough anyway. We got Austin on 24.5, Harshan. That's not actually his surname. His surname has been truncated for the benefit of the column width.
Would you like to say his surname?
No. And if you want to hear me say his surname, you can check out what I'm going to say later on in this podcast, because I'm actually going to probably say it in that podcast. In that bit of the podcast, anyway.
Lama Bhattacharya.
Bless you. Sorry, that might be slightly offensive.
Died. Ouch, poor Harshan.
I know.
If only he could have been born with a good name like Benji.
Well, Harshan was on Countdown, and they just had to call him Harshan L. Or they had to like really shrink his name because his name was just too long for the panel. But anyway, rounding up, I'll run through the top 8. Still, we got Neil Scott, who is a Scot, if that wasn't apparent enough. In 5th, we have Gautam Jayaraman.
Check out his blog if you haven't seen it. It's really funny.
In 6th, we've got former world champion Mark Nyman. And former Countdown producer and, like, literally former everything. It's like...
He's kind of done everything that you can in Scrabble.
Yeah. 7th, we got Wesper chairman, Ellie Dangor. Ooh.
He has more money to donate to Niagara now.
He should really get free entry for that. And rounding up the top 8, we have David Eldar. And literally just missing out by, like, lots of spread points.
Just barely, just only 400 spread points.
Oh, no.
Only 470.
For me, that would take, like, 6 games to get that much spread.
And then one game and it's all gone.
Yeah. So you got Paul Gallen and David Webb missing out. So, if you're familiar with bracket style knockouts, it's always 1v8, 2v7, 3v6, and 4v5, obviously. Best of 3, starts and replies. Well, what happened in that first bracket? Nigel lost.
When you say that it doesn't matter where you finish, it kind of does. You don't want to be finishing in 8th because then you have to play Nigel. But it didn't really matter to this guy.
Yeah.
He
this
beat
guy
Nigel.
doesn't care if you're Nigel or like Grandma next door. He'll crush you anyway.
Yep. Swift 2-0. He beat Nigel in 2 games and put an end to his incredible run.
Bracket number 2. Well, Austin wins. I mean,
Ellie had a great tournament. Austin is one of the best players to come from Britain. He had an incredible year, and it was capped off partly by this tournament.
Partly by something we're going to talk about later as well.
He also won U.S. Collins Division at Nationals.
He's like winning everything, isn't he? Or at least coming close to it.
Scoring just never stops.
Winner of the Harshan Mark Neumann bracket was Harshan. And Gautam won the bracket versus Neil. So your quarterfinals. What were the quarterfinals? I'm a bit stuck. They're in there somewhere.
Well, you just announced all the quarterfinals.
No, I mean who won them.
You just said that.
I mean
David
the
Eldar,
semis,
Mark Nyman.
Semis. Damn.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Semifinals now.
I can't word.
Alright, semifinals were between... Well, you could tell us.
Yeah, but wait, who? Wait, what? I don't know. I don't know who won them. I don't know who they were between. Well, I know who won them, but I don't know who they were between. Like, I don't remember what the brackets are like.
I know this. Don't worry. I got you covered. Semifinals were Austin Shin versus Harshan. Lama Bhattacharya. I don't really know too much about this bracket. I don't think the other bracket was kind of covered in the feature match, but Harshan managed to beat Austin, putting an end to his run at this tournament. And in the other bracket was David Eldar versus Gautam, and Eldar managed to beat Gautam three games to 2. I remember watching the first game And David Eldar was kind of freaking out because he thought he had the game locked up, and Goodham had a surprise late bingo. If you watch the interview, you'll see that David Eldar was kind of caught off guard by it, but he still managed to win that game and win the series by process.
Always expect the unexpected in Scrabble.
Scrabble is never just business as usual.
Yeah, that's the best way of putting it. So your final ended up being between David Eldar and Harshan.
The day before this tournament, the day before this match, David Eldar posted on Facebook, "Please, one time, 3-0. Just give me a 3-0 here."
And as most of us online folk know, you can only have one time in your life. And David Eldar probably already had his one time when he won the WISC.
I think I wasted my one time on like getting two sodas from a vending machine or something.
I've probably wasted my one time already on something. But anyway, it was a good final, wasn't it?
It was an interesting final. I actually was asleep for most of it, unfortunately. David Eldar won too quickly. But I remember the last game, Harshan was clearly nervous and missed a pretty easy bingo, but David managed to pull it out. And I think he was the most deserving player in this field of a World Championship win. It was kind of overdue for him, to be honest.
Yeah. I think it's also important to remember Harshan actually quit Scrabble for quite a while as well. So to not only come back but have to learn CSW 12, CSW 15, all these updates, all these new words, that's actually quite amazing considering, most of us get the time to learn these new words.
I remember meeting Harshan at Causeway this past year. Super nice guy. He was just getting back into the game, and he kind of crushed that tournament too. I'm really scared to see what he's going to be doing in like 2-3 years if he keeps playing at this pace.
It's a scary thought, one which I'm not going to think about because we are going to move on to the UK National Championship.
Well, you have to worry about it more than me. He's from the UK.
I also don't play, so I don't have to worry about anything anymore.
It's true.
So yeah, I mean, looking at these top two, I mean, after looking at the Westpac like we did, the MSI World Championship, I'm getting ahead of myself now. After looking at that event, I mean, could you really expect the top two to not be Austin or Harshan?
I think there's something wrong with these standings. I don't see Nigel Richards' name anywhere.
I know. Well, how am I going to use my Nigel Richards button if he doesn't appear at the UK Championships? We'll have to get him there next year.
I don't even think you would have qualified. You have to qualify,
You could qualify the day before the championship, like Mike Nyman.
Mike Nyman. Mark Nyman's secret long lost brother.
I almost said Lark Mike instead of like Mark. But yes, Mark Nyman qualified the day before at the last chance qualifier in his final game. He might not have even have made it. And we're talking about 7th place.
If Mark ever wants to play in the bottom division at Scrabble, he could always just fake his own death and sign up for a tournament as Mike Nyman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, I'll let you get on with this.
Yeah, I mean, there really isn't like so much to say about the championship other than like there's now really only two. Well, before this event, there were really only 2 players that were still yet to win the national title. And in the UK, there are so many great players and so many individual winners, unique winners from the last, 3 decades, literally. There have only been a handful of repeat winners. And the 2 probably current really good players that were still lacking the national title were Austin Shin and Lewis Mackay.
And as you could see, one of those players won it, and the other kind of had a disappointing finish.
Yeah, I mean, I would have said before the event, and I hope I did because I want it recorded somewhere. It was Austin or Lewis's time to win the championship, and I had my money on Lewis, but he's not done so great in all these big tournaments.
He had a heartbreaker at BMSC too. He lost it by 5 spread points.
Yeah, and that's kind of a bummer, but
We're talking about a world's runner-up here. It's not like he never does well at these tournaments. He just is very overdue for a win at one of them.
always the bridesmaid, if you can call it that. But yeah, so your top 10 are, as you can see just here, the defending champion finished 4th. Phil Robertshaw finished 4th, and I think that's actually a really good defense from a defending champion.
Oh yeah, that's a super solid performance.
Yeah, it was, and we had 2 shocks in the top 10 as well: Chris Cummins and Colin Northmore, and Graham Hay, of course. All shocks, if you want to call it a shock. Maybe surprising to these players, but I would say it's surprising as well. These players aren't the kind of big names you'll have heard around the world. You know, they're not competing at world events. You know, they're not dominating the major events in the UK, but this was like a really solid performance from them, and it's like, you know, coming so high at national championships, like, especially one as hotly contested as the UK, it kind of really puts you on the map as well. It's like, hey, look at me, I'm gonna kick people's arse, and I'm gonna make a run at this event someday.
Yeah, these players probably don't get to play in as many tournaments, or just choose not to play in as many tournaments as people like Austin or, say, Mark Nyman. Mark
Nyman doesn't play that much.
They play more locally, I would say, but local heroes doing really well in this tournament. They also have Chris, Colin, and Graham are also the 3 players who are not Grandmasters who finished in the top 10, as you can see.
Look at all those GMs. Where is the expert represent? I don't know either.
I guess if you're an expert, you just can't do well in tournaments.
Maybe.
Which is
you need the big GM.
Which is pretty worrisome for me, since that's my title.
But you know, we can't leave this discussion about the UK Nationals without talking about that final game. I mean,
there was a final game. I slept through it all.
The tiebreaker. Like, the championship game, the one that determined whether Austin or Harshan won. I mean, if you haven't watched it, where have you been the last, 4 months?
I slept through that one. It was boring.
I know, wasn't it? Just go to my... If you haven't seen it, go to my YouTube channel, which you're probably already on. I might even put it at the end of this video for you. And, watch it. It is my most watched video. It is... If you never watch any of my other videos, you have to watch this one.
So I fell asleep, and when I woke up, Harshan had played 4 bingos, and then I fell back asleep, and then when I woke up again, Austin won the game.
And if you want to find out how that all happened, yeah, watch that video. I'm not going to say anymore. I mean, you can see who won that game, but relive the moment.
I also just told you who won that game.
Relive the moment.
That was one of the more exciting games I've seen in my life.
If I was able to fall off my chair at the time, I would have fallen off my chair. It was that exciting. If I could have displayed emotions, I would have.
You had to sit and watch that game completely stone-faced, didn't you?
No, I was hiding behind a table that was above my head. So I was quite fortunate.
Well, then you were displaying emotions.
Well, I could display emotions, but secretly.
Okay, I don't know what emotions you were feeling then. It could have been just rage toward Austin for winning more games than he's allowed to. Seriously, This guy won way too many games this year.
I know, look, his name... I might need to get an Austin button as well.
That's a thought. Um, I'm glad I'm playing. I'm glad I'm playing TWL at New Orleans. Austin is going there, and he's playing Collins.
Well, with that quite exciting roundup, let's move on to Westpac. Let's go on to Westpac.
Don't worry, guys. Austin didn't play this one.
Fortunately, but where's my Nigel button? Hashtag Nigel did.
Nigel, since he's all people seem to care about, finished third in this tournament. He had a pretty disappointing finish, actually. I think he lost his last two.
Yeah, that's he just needed the one, didn't he? Just the one game.
One game, and he would have been in the finals.
And he probably would have destroyed these players.
Ouch! Wow, that's tough crowd here. I mean, I guess there's no shame in getting destroyed by Nigel.
I mean, it happens to all of us eventually.
Not. That's one of the benefits of being rated 1200 for your entire life. You'll probably never get destroyed by Nigel.
Unless you enter open divisions.
No, you'll have to get very unlucky to get destroyed by Nigel, or very lucky, depending on how you look at it.
So, if you compare these standings to the MSI World Championships, you'll see a lot of you've got Bahrain, you've got Nigeria, you've got Thailand, you've got Canada, you've got India. You know, the European crowd doesn't represent so well in this championship, does it? I mean, literally the only European player in the top 15 is Femi Awawade.
It's a nice performance by him.
But like that, I mean, it would be like if we could combine somehow Westpac and MSI.
Where would you have that?
On the moon.
That'd be an interesting tournament.
Oh yeah.
What's the entry fee gonna be like? I think transportation might be a little tricky.
Yeah, but what we
Do you need a ride?
Yeah. It would just be nice if we could have like all the European players, like, because MSI always have their championship in Europe, or mostly in Europe, and then having an event outside Europe allows other players who can't afford to come to Europe to play, and you know, it allows players who we don't really hear about to win these championships, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just tough for. I think it's just tough for people in Nigeria to get visas.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of it, and a lot of the people from Thailand and just Asia just don't want to make the trip. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Nigerians would make the trip if they thought it was profitable, or if they had a reasonable way of getting out there. But it's just not.
Yeah. So hands up, who heard of the top two before this event?
I think I heard Moses Peter's name.
Yeah, I
like
think I
once somewhere.
Well. Somewhere in one of the Phenomenon's many posts about things.
Oh,
Yeah.
He was at this tournament. I think he won like half his games.
That just doesn't sound very phenomenal.
Sounds like a pretty unphenomenal performance.
Sounds mediocre. But yeah,
that's not a very good name. The Mediocrist it's not as catchy.
But unlike the MSI World Championships, Westpac was only for the top two. It was top two exclusive. So Nigel, you know.
What she means by that is there was this cut. There was a cut after 32 rounds for the top two players to play out in the best of 7 finals.
Yeah. So there's no top 8 knockout. There's no bracket. It's literally just you two fight it out. I'll go have a nap, kind of thing.
And those games were between Akshay. There's no way I'm pronouncing this right.
I'm gonna fail too.
Bandarkar and Moses Peter. And this one, unlike the others, were like, I'll wake up for game 4, and then the other player already won 3-0. This one actually went to 7 games.
And was it an exciting 7 games, or was it like hide behind your sofa, this is making me queasy kind of 7 games?
It was kind of tough to watch. Both players, I think, were very nervous and were making more mistakes than they normally would. I think Peter was the more nervous of the players. He was playing a lot more phonies than I think he normally would. Just stuff that should be in his range, but he was blanking on. And who could blame him? Someone explained it as he was trying to defend, like he was trying to live up to what Wellington did in I think 2015 was it when he won the world championship and keep Nigeria's name on the map, and he just barely fell short. What you would see from those games though is his patent is that he definitely carries forward the Nigerian strategy of defense. He plays a lot more defensively than he and most of the players in Nigeria play way more defensively than most other players in the world.
Yeah. A lot of them know how to play a closed board. They know how to make sure that you can't score points.
Did you secretly spend years in Nigeria training?
I think I did. Yes, I am secretly African.
Actually, on the other hand, just played like a pretty normal equity-based game, and he managed to come out on top in a very close match. He kind of got lucky in the last game. That game was kind of over before it began. He got some early bingos, and there's a pretty fun fact that we found for this podcast about Akshay. You want to tell everyone?
It's your fact. You tell them.
Oh, fine. Akshay is the first married man to win a World Scrabble Championship. So if you don't want to do well at Scrabble, just stay single. Or if you want to do well at Scrabble, stay single.
And
but
be
he
a
bucked
man.
that trend.
No,
Yeah. This top 8 must make you a little sad.
I know. I mean, looking at that, I don't even know if there are any women in that one. I would highly doubt it anyway. Women are not very well represented at the top of the game. I don't know if I still count as one of the best female players in the world. But
I think it's either Helen Gibson, Teresa Brazan, or
no, one of the best, not the best.
No, I know.
But yeah, Helen Gibson doesn't really play anymore. Teresa Brazan doesn't play because she's got her wonderful dog charity that is always cute, and it makes me really jealous whenever I read her Facebook.
She just played the UK Open.
Yeah, okay, maybe she find time between looking
I think
after
she started
dogs.
playing. I think she started playing a little bit more lately. She also, where does she live again?
Malta.
Yeah, she kind of lives outside of the realm where tournaments happen. I think she gets like her one tournament of the year in Malta that's easy for her, and then the rest she has to kind of commit to.
Yeah. But there are very few really top female players in the world, and it's something we need to work on. Where are my women?
Yeah.
Where are my women representing? Says
Where
me,
am I-
I'm representing the women.
Where are my Americans representing this tournament? We kind of crashed and burned here.
I see a Canada in there. I mean, it's about as good as it's going to get, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we have a tough time in this tournament, especially with this type of field, just because the players play so defensively, and I think a lot of the top American players just play super, super open boards.
Yeah, and it's something for another podcast where we'll talk about the whole offense, defense, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I think it's mostly because we're not natural Collins players, and that's the easiest strategy, to sum it up in 2 sentences.
Well, either way, we have now rounded up all these tournaments, I think.
I think so, too.
Yeah. And oh my word, there's some stuff happening.
Wow, stuff.
Stuff! Lots of stuff. I mean, in case you're wondering what this massive word text thing with weird painted on circles are. These are the current, at the time of recording, ABSP records. And look at all those circled ones. What do they mean?
What are those circles there for? Why did you do that? There must have been a reason.
Because I wanted to highlight the records that got broken this year. 3 records got broken this year. 3 ABSP records, and that's a lot. I mean, look at some of these records if you can somehow see through the squiggles. You know, we got 2012, we got 2011, 2009. I think that one might be another 2009. You got 2015, 2011. There's a couple more records than this that are tournament winners' ages, which of course Austin has that. I wanted to beat that record so bad.
Maybe someday
I failed.
Maybe someday someone will draw natural Bezique or Kazik or Asphyxie.
No, I wanted to beat Austin's.
It's not going to happen anytime soon, though.
Yeah. Austin was like 11 when he won his first tournament. I mean, jeez. I'll just have to break Mr. Budge's record and win a tournament when I'm like 83 or something.
I can't see these records.
Oh, no, that's because they're not here. They're not on this bit. But anyway, the 3 records that were broken. Austin, of course, opening with Bezique. I mean, that's how you start a year off, isn't it? February.
Is that his first play of the year?
I don't know. It could have been.
That was definitely not my first play of the year. I think my first play of the year in 2018 was like Exchange 6 or something.
Yeah, the other 2 records are broken in the same game. And that game we're gonna have a look at now. I mean, look at this board. I mean, it's like...
That looks like a points. It looks like a bloodbath. It looks like a zone.
I mean, look, there's a 9 timer with a Q on the double letter square, and like, oh my god, that's like, how many points is this? Well, let's go back here. 347.
That seems adequate to win the game.
Well, that has a +5 in it as well, so it should really say 342 +5, I think.
That's almost Rob's score.
297. I can't do math. Someone help me. No, there's no +5 in there.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that someone would challenge adequacy. I mean, I might have at that score, but...
I might just like... There must be a K in it somewhere. Adequacy.
Adequacy?
Yeah.
That's
just
where it is.
Because I just don't want so many points. I mean, you might as well. But I mean...
I think last year at Lake George, I actually blocked Quinn James. She was gonna play fuzziest for about 300 if I didn't block the spot.
But yeah, if we look at the records, again, it tells us the game scores as well. The highest combined score for one game. 1173. I mean, sometimes I struggle to score that across 3 games, and these guys did it in 1.
Well, there are 2 players there, so it kind of helps. I think
especially the way I play. I mean, who knows if we could hit that after 3 games.
I would hope that your scores... I would hope that you and your opponent both average over 300. I mean, I know you play defensively, but at least let your opponent have 300 points.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Piotr
was just 42 points short of Mr. 850, who will probably hold that record for a long time to come.
You never know when someone will break it, though.
I'll get a hammer. That will be the only way I'll ever break these records.
I have some old CDs. I could break those. Does that count as a broken record?
I wish I had my soundboard set up for this. I would so bring out the sounds. But, I think that just about does us for rounding up 2017, doesn't it?
Yeah, what are your goals for 2018?
Avoid competitive Scrabble for another year, unlike, that tournament that I ended up playing last year. That kind of sucked. make more of these podcasts, hopefully, and make more stupid questions come up on ISE with stupid answers. That's fun.
I don't think you're going to need to work at that one. I think
the
public stupidity is kind of a given.
Easy. And I just want to make people laugh with my stupidness. Oh, and if anyone does see me at the tournament, you're welcome to give me a hug. I like hugs.
If someone sees me at a tournament, you're welcome to give me a hug, but I might just be like, eh.
Or you might have to ask Benji to rub his head. You to rub
It's
his
good
head,
luck.
not Benji to rub his head. Oh, his own head. Yeah. I'm going
It's
to
good
rub
luck
your
to
head.
rub my head.
Before every Blue
Richard-
Jays game, I'm going to get them to rub your head so that maybe they can win.
Richard Landau rubbed my head before every game at Albany one year, or last year, and went 19-2. It's patented. It's tried and true. It's good luck. I wish it worked for me. I did not do well in my last few tournaments.
So with that, we hope you enjoyed our podcast, even though it seemed to have run along quite a bit. And hopefully we'll see you next time when we kind of round up January for you. This very month that we accidentally recorded the podcast in.
Yeah, I should have some good stories by then. I've played New Orleans, despite what I should have done. I probably should have just stayed home because I'm busy with work.
Mm-hmm.
But I signed up. I already have my flights. I'm not going to not go.
Okay, so we will see you next time. Bye.
All right. See you across the board, everyone.